Welcome, welcome everyone. I'm Danielle.
Wait a minute. And I'm Celeste, and we're the founders of the Somatica Institute of Sex and Relationship Coaching. The Institute offers trainings for professionals to become certified as sex and relationship coaches, and it's also a place where people go to do powerful growth around their own lives in the realm of sex and relationships.
And today we wanted to tackle the topic of intercourse and want to play with it and kind of have a unique conversation.
Think outside of the box, because I think, a lot of times the reason that people get kind of like bored or uninterested in their sex life is just like they keep just doing the same thing over and over again. And also, as if you're going to be a sex coach or a sex and relationship coach, you really need to be able to help people think outside the box, do new things with the things that they've been doing all along. And I think especially because sometimes people get used to something and they're like, that's their comfort zone. And you're like, okay, well, you can still do that, but what if you did it like this? Just to sort of like have a bridge to add something to. But also as a sex coach, you really need to be able to talk to people about all different kinds of sexual practices and to hear people talk about all different kinds of sexual practices and the sort of desires or feelings they want underneath them. Whether it's something that would turn you on or not, you need to be able to bring your celebration and enthusiasm to their desires. So I think that's something that we really practice in Somatica, is how to talk about sex really openly and enthusiastically, and how to hear about all different kinds of experiences and practices really openly and enthusiastically.
It doesn't mean you need to know about all the sexual practices that your clients know. People come up with really things that I've never heard about, but then like the enthusiasm and the curiosity and it's like, oh my God, tell me more about that, is always the way that we approach our clients and approach their desires and interests around sexuality.
Or if you like the idea of just becoming way more comfortable talking about it, it's really can be amazing to do a sex and relationship coaching training so that you can get that kind of comfort.
There's a big difference between like offering tips and tricks, and there's a way that we do it in Somatica, which is really trying to fit it to who they are and fit it to what turns them on. It's always good to have a good variety, and we're going to offer it here, but as we're doing that, it's really important to check with the people that we are working with, and hopefully you one day are going to be working with. What is it that turn you on? What does it turn you on about this act? What does it turn you on psychologically when you do this position? Or what turns you on when you try something new and you imagine it? So it's really about matching what turns people on. We have our wonderful book coming together that helps people figure out what turns them on. We also have other webinars that talk about that. So we're not going to talk about it here, but we do want you to know that it comes in combination to that component, and not just like everyone should do all the stuff that we offer. It's like, no, let's see what really turns you on.
We already have a fantastic comment. I think being able to talk about things that may or may not be your cup of tea is also great for relationships. So you can talk with your partner without shaming them. And that is exactly true, especially if you're beginning to have a conversation about like, how do we spice it up? You want to be open to hear all of their ideas, but then you can still decide what you want to do or not do.
When people think about intercourse, they look at it as this trajectory. You start with a little bit of kissing, then you move to like a little bit of nipple stimulation, then you move to maybe oral sex, then you move to intercourse, and then you're kind of done. But we want to look at it as this start and stop way, which is like, oh my God, we do all those things. We make out, we talk sexy, we tell each other what turns us on, we go down on each other, then maybe intercourse, but maybe pull it out and try some oral sex, and then maybe pull it out again and try some fingering and with oral sex or some vibrators. So don't look at intercourse as this like the final frontier that you're trying to get to. Just use it as one tool in your toolbox.
Yeah, and I love the idea of starting and stopping, because it takes away this like goal orientation around sex. Like we're just trying to get, and a lot of times when it's just like, especially with like heterosexual intercourse, if it's just, let's just try to get each other to come. And oftentimes, if the man happens to come first, then that'll be the end no matter what. And the woman is just like, oh, okay, I guess not this time for me. But if you think of it as like something where you can start and then go into like some fingering lingering and then come back out and go into some licking. And maybe then you just come out and you like roll around and play. And somebody says a bit of tease and denial never hurts, which I agree. That's exactly what this offers, is this feeling of like teasing and playing with the sensations and playing with the energy. And you can see like, ooh, maybe we do one orgasm with this kind of stimulation. If your partner is multi-orgasmic, one orgasm with this kind of stimulation, and make it a little bit more of like a dance or a game, a playful game.
Another great option is tonguing it. Means like using your tongue instead of your dick. Anywhere you use the dick, put your tongue in first or more, you know, and even better, like put your tongue in one place, use your nose for the other direction, use a vibrator on your clit, like all those things, and not just like put your dick in.
And I think a lot of times people think of like tongue sex as more like licking a clitoris or licking an anus or something like that. But, you know, you can do tongue fucking, and that's where you like put it in and you know, like either the person who's receiving can like move up and down on the tongue, or the person giving can like put their tongue in and out. Another one to play with is guess what's going in. And that's when you put a blindfold on your partner, and then you have a full assortment of toys, plus you have your fingers and your tongue and your penis if you have one, or dildos, or both, anal toys, G-spot, vibrating G-spot toys if you're doing it with someone who has a vagina. And you kind of put all of the toys down, and even if you want to get wild, like a very clean toe could be something that you could put inside. and then your partner has to like just tune into sensation, and they have to guess like what is going in right now, or they can tell you like, oh, I like the way this feels, and maybe not so much that one, so can you do more of this? So you can do a little like, what is my favorite instrument of intercourse? And then like, do I want different kinds of pressures? Because the cool thing about fingers, for example, for intercourse, is that you can like really do different kinds of stimulation. So you can say, oh, do you like your G-spot stimulated, or do you like your all the way in your cervix, or do you like your asshole stimulated, inserted inside, and or, you know, with anal toys or something like that. So it can be like a little bit of like, guess what is going in, and also preference, like which things I like the best, and how fast, or like do deep or slow do I want them. You know, it can be a little like workshopping game.
Yeah, I also want to say, kind of like, if you're just using your cock to please your partner, you're missing out on even yourself developing sensations in your hands that can kind of track pleasure with your partner, and kind of your tongue kind of feel the pleasure. So it can expand on your ability to experience pleasure in your body that's not just cock-centric.
Well, I think we've talked about like that intercourse can be done with all different things, right? So like, but with what are you having intercourse with? And I think the automatic thought is like, okay, you know, that we live in a very heterosexual paradigm, so the idea is often of like a penis going in and out of a vagina, but you can have oral intercourse, vaginal intercourse, anal intercourse, and like we talked about, you can use all different toys and different things to play with. So, and you can have all of them on the same night if you want. Like you might want to do vaginal intercourse, oral intercourse, anal intercourse, but make sure you leave anal for the end, because you can't do anal after. I mean, you can't do oral or vaginal after anal. So unless you take like a nice soapy shower in between. So you want to leave anal for the end if you're going to do all three of them. And I think one of the like one really
or use a condom for anal if you are, or use a condom for all of them and switch condoms, or use condom for anal if you're not using condom with your partner. Take it off afterwards. Yeah.
And one like fun fantasy with that people like can either make them feel like dirty or naughty or received or powerful is to go from like vaginal to oral. So you might like the feeling of like licking your own juices off. Like that might feel like very like self-empowering. Like I love the way that I taste. Or you might like the idea of like making someone lick juices off of you, like, oh, you need to clean up the mess that you made or something like that. So people like different kind of fantasies underneath, and you can see there's like the physiological arousal of like just intercourse or G-spot or something like that, but then there's the psychological arousal of like, what is this making you feel? So that can be a fun way to play from like vaginal intercourse to oral intercourse, and play with like the juices, you know, what's happening with the juices afterwards.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We're so excited that you joined us today. If you liked what we are doing here, join us for the next webinar, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel and like it, because you're going to get all those reruns on the YouTube feed. So we can't wait to have more of you.
And our YouTube channel is Celeste and Danielle.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
So we can't wait to see more of you. Mwah.
Mwah. Bye.